This is not just a grand tomb. It is the grand blueprint for an entire empire's golden age. Standing proudly in Delhi, India, this sanctuary was born from a barren, sun-drenched plain. Commissioned nearly 5 centuries ago, its scale defied the engineering limits of its era. Built by a grieving empress, it was designed to mirror paradise itself for her fallen king. How did an empire construct a paradise of stone that would outlast dynasties and empires? Historians believe the site was meticulously flattened to align perfectly with the river. Architect Mirak Mirza Ghiyas brought Persian geometry to define the tomb's massive grid. Deep trenches were dug across the property to secure the monument against shifting soils. Massive rubble stones were packed tightly into the trenches to form an immovable base. A specialized lime mortar mix was prepared to ensure the foundations lasted for centuries. Every foundation block was hammered manually into place to prevent future structural settling. The subterranean structure reflects the symmetrical charbagh layout planned for above. Thousands of local workers backfilled the gaps to solidify the grand underground platform. Precision was critical. Even a minor error would ruin the complex geometry of the dome. With the foundation completed, the site was now ready for its massive plinth to rise. Masons began shaping the red sandstone that would form the visible core of the lower terrace. Dozens of elephants were deployed to transport the massive stones from quarries miles away. The enormous lower plinth started rising, elevating the entire tomb above the floodplains. Leverage and pure muscle power were used to position the heaviest blocks on the perimeter. Layer by layer, the core platform grew denser, engineered to support thousands of tons. The internal structural cell network provided stability and formed the basement arches. Wooden centering frames allowed masons to build the identical vaulted cells along the side. The layout of the central octagonal chamber was carefully mapped out on the main platform. With the colossal lower terrace completed, the foundational stage drew to a grand close. The base was secured. Now the monumental walls of the tomb could finally begin to rise. Artisans meticulously positioned each sandstone slab, ensuring absolute geometric perfection. The massive scaffolding matrices were erected, allowing laborers to ascend to soaring heights. The precise mortaring created structural bonds designed to withstand centuries of weathering. The iconic Persian-style arched alcoves began to frame the grand exterior of the tomb. Inside, the innovative 8-sided plan created the core structural nexus of the complex. Delicate white marble inlays were carved to dramatically contrast against the red sandstone. Using complex pulley arrays, master builders hoisted massive marble stones up the facade. Every archway was verified against Persian master designs to ensure flawless symmetry. The colossal structure began dominating the landscape, a monument to imperial ambition. Intricate mosaic borders were seamlessly integrated into the growing structural facades. Masons fortified the roof deck to bear the upcoming weight of a colossal double dome. Heavy interior supports were built to cradle the intricate vaulting of the main chamber. Outside, the formal grid of the historic Charbagh Paradise Garden began to take form. Mathematical precision defined the execution of every panel, corner, and layout line. Traditional Indian chhatris were integrated onto the roof, blending Persian and regional styles. The core walls reached their full height, ready to receive the monument's crowning glory. An unprecedented internal timber framework was engineered to support the dome's architecture. The double dome design left a massive hollow space inside, reducing the overall weight. Day by day, the majestic curve of the inner ceiling enclosed the emperor's final resting place. Interlocking stone engineering ensured the outward thrust of the dome was perfectly contained. Now, the outermost shell of pure white marble began to rise above the red sandstone walls. Every marble block was customized to match the expanding, spherical curve of the monument. The marble was buffed to a brilliant sheen, intended to gleam brightly under the Indian sun. The defining profile of the double dome was complete, changing Delhi's skyline forever. With the placement of the sacred pinnacle, the massive superstructure stood fully completed. Sacred Quranic verses were carved onto the stone facades, offering blessings for the emperor's soul. Intricate geometric jali screens were hand-carved to temper the intense, harsh Indian sunlight. The screens transformed direct daylight into soft, dancing patterns across the interior floors. Distinctive ornamental battlements were added to accent the monument's soaring roofline profile. Inside the tomb, expansive polished floors reflected the soft light filtering through the arches. Brilliant gold leaf detailing highlighted the ceiling vaults, creating a sense of heaven above. As scaffolding dismantled, the bold, geometric majesty of the facade stood proudly unveiled. Outside, the formal quadrant grid layout of the grand Charbagh garden was meticulously dug. Intricate marble channels were crafted to direct cool water flowing directly through the grounds.
Stately cypress and fruit trees were planted, symbolizing eternity and life's vibrant renewal.
An advanced network of earthen pipes brought water from the nearby Yamuna River to the pools. A monumental entry gate was constructed, creating a theatrical transition into paradise. Every peripheral structure matched the central tomb's meticulous color palette and geometry. Towering, fortified boundary walls enclosed the sanctuary, separating it from the busy outer world. After years of endless labor, the site was thoroughly cleaned, preparing for its grand opening. The symbolic cenotaph was placed, marking the spiritual center of the entire dynastic monument. Water finally surged through the grid, bringing the symbolic rivers of paradise vividly to life. Empress Bega Begum's vision was realized, a monumental triumph of love, duty, and architecture. Yet, this masterpiece was more than a single tomb. It would soon harbor an entire dynasty. Over decades, over 100 Mughal royals would be laid to rest within these very walls, earning the historic title of the necropolis of the Mughals. It preserved an imperial lineage. As the centuries marched on, the grand monument witnessed the slow, painful decay of the empire. The rivers dried up, the gardens grew wild, yet the stone structure stood defiant against time. Its defining feature remains the flawless double dome, a masterwork of absolute symmetry. Humayun's tomb stands forever as a timeless paradise in stone,
the ultimate blueprint of Mughal genius. The monumental double-dome structure was finalized, sealing the architectural crowning achievement.
Meticulous stone inlay work continued until the very last square inch matched the design. The magnificent western gateway stood finished, serving as the grand primary entry portal. Lush vegetation was systematically planted across the complex grid to evoke eternal life. The complex hydraulic network kept the symbolic rivers flowing steadily through the heat. Every fountain and pool was carefully calibrated to maximize the soothing sound of water. The monumental main structure stood fully completed, a testament to perfect craftsmanship. The internal chamber achieved a sacred, serene atmosphere fit for an immortal king. Every staircase and corridor was finished with precision, linking the grand tiers seamlessly. The immense boundary wall stood fully secure, enclosing a sanctuary of total peace. The surrounding vaulted alcoves stood ready to serve their purpose for future generations. Intricate plaster carvings framed the minor portals, maintaining structural elegance throughout. The grand reflecting basins were filled, creating a breathtaking mirror image of stone. The structural finish combined bold color blocking with absolute mathematical precision. The complex interplay of shadow and bright light created a truly timeless experience.
The finished landscape perfectly balanced structural weight with flowing nature.
Every peripheral wall arc was finalized, bringing full structural balance to the tomb. Finely carved structural embellishments highlighted the immense scale of the upper tiers. The swelling, bulbous dome sat perfectly balanced, a revolutionary architectural icon. The grand design was fully realized, standing complete as an architectural masterpiece. By merging Persian geometry with Indian skill, they answered the empire's grandest structural challenge. They built a grand paradise on earth, proving that monumental love could conquer time. This sanctuary successfully secured a timeless legacy for an entire rising dynasty. The grand architectural riddle was solved, establishing the definitive blueprint for the future. Humayun's tomb remains forever complete, a spectacular testament to imperial genius.